You have a group of people that spends I don't know how much time on creating something in honor of your game, especially in another game. I think you should applaud that. That was Swen Vincke, CEO of Larian, talking about mods in Baldur's Gate 3, or more specifically, mods outside of Baldur's Gate 3, a Stardew Valley mod. Specifically, this mod. It was one of several statements made by Swen Vincke in support of mods, even amid a takedown notice. Comments that have me thinking largely about the future of Baldur's Gate 3, which has taken on new significance with Larian's final patch, not to mention the large-scale projects wrapping up their 13-year mod projects like Skyblivion being given the green light from Bethesda to keep going with their own Oblivion remaster or remake. Larian has moved on from Baldur's Gate 3, and with them, any hopes of a DLC for the game are probably gone too. Hasbro has already talked up a BG4, but still has no partner, at least that we know of. All of that leaves the future of Baldur's Gate 3 largely in our hands. I mean, honestly, like your hands, because I'm not making shit. I make YouTube videos and play games and shit at games that I play anyway. But the really interesting thing, the really exciting thing about all of this, all coming from an interview, is that Larian seems to be behind it. Just take a listen.
Well, I mean, it's the end of 8 years of development, really. So it's been a very long journey. We wanted to go out with a bang in terms of what we were going to add to the game and hand it over to the modders. So the modding toolkit has received a significant update, so people can now start making campaigns. So we're going to see what's going to come from that. I think you'll see quite a few things if I hear the things that they're working on. And then really what you're going to see is us giving support to any major bugs that pop up. Operating systems change, platforms change, so we'll continue to support those things. Never say never, so you never know if we surprise people. It happens from time to time. But from where we are now, it really is focused on the next big things for us so that we can put all of our development attention there.
Hearing Swen Vincke mention custom campaigns and especially supporting big freaking projects is music to my damn layoff weary ears. And hopefully yours too. It's part of larger comments Swen Vincke made reflecting on Baldur's Gate 3, the future and the processes of Larian, gaming in general, and much more in an interview he did with GameSpot. And it follows a short-lived takedown saga from Hasbro, or Wizards of the Coast under Hasbro, of the very same Stardew Valley mod that started a whole lot of this conversation around mods in the first place. Let's quickly catch you up to speed if you're unfamiliar about how all the takedown notice and what happened and how Swen Vincke and Larian and Baldur's Gate 3 are all kind of connected. Baldur's Village was released. It got a shout out from Vincke for being fantastic, and then Wizards of the Coast sent a takedown notice to Nexus mods. So it went dark. The same Wizards of the Coast who destroyed any shreds of goodwill they barely had 2 years ago, before with this whole attempted change to the open gaming license for D&D, which got such widespread criticism, they actually backed off on it. Yes, they got so much criticism and potentially probably lost a shit ton of money or potential money, with people maybe deciding that Pathfinder might be more worth it, especially for their small businesses, instead of perhaps a D&D that was going to have a very, very restrictive change. So public pressure worked. The criticism for this moronic move by Hasbro wasn't as loud, and it didn't take nearly as long. The DMCA takedown for Baldur's Village was on March 29th, 2025. A few days later, Swen came out seemingly against the move, stating, Free quality fan mods highlighting your characters in other game genres are proof your work resonates and are a unique form of word of mouth. They shouldn't be treated like commercial ventures that infringe on your property. Magically, hours later, Wizards of the Coast rescinded it because it was just an oopsie doopsie and they didn't actually mean to send out that DMCA takedown. Of course they didn't, right? I don't know if we'll ever know for certain whether Wizards of the Coast hastily pulled the trigger and then got cold feet, or if it was some stupid AI bullshit web crawler that read BG3 and Mod and Astarion and sent out an automated takedown notice. We also won't know if Sven's voice had any pull in getting it reversed. But as mentioned, we have seen Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast cave to public pressure and public outcry, and this surely would have started to instigate some of that public outcry. Perhaps not nearly as much as the OGL, as that was impacting actual small businesses, people that had created things with the open game license for D&D specifically. So I mean, it's a different thing, but still, at least they're sensitive to it now after getting their ass handed to them a couple times. With Baldur's Gate 3 specifically, it's kind of in an interesting place. Wizards of the Coast owns the IP. The game was made under license with Larian, and that partnership brought us a generational RPG that exceeded even the rosiest of expectations, set records for winning awards, and to this day still maintains insanely high player numbers. In a sense, Baldur's Gate 3 became a cultural phenomenon, and one that has been helped in part by Wizards of the Coast being more hands-off than I'd expect from a company increasingly making bad decisions, but more so by Sven and Larian at large, who still have gaming media clamoring for their quotes, even if it's just a small mention from Michael Dowse about a game here or there, or Vincke talking about mods and hinting at a fishing game. There's two main things we know. We know that Larian isn't really doing anything else with Baldur's Gate 3 except maybe some hot fixes, bug fixes, and minor patches going forward. They're done. They're moving on, as they put it, their next big thing. We also know that Hasbro saw what happened with Baldur's Gate 3 and said, I want more of that, please. So they're actually looking at potentially finding a new partner for a Baldur's Gate 4. Although the last mention that I remember of that was about a year ago, and we haven't really heard much since. Not that they'd announce it just yet. So we're potentially years away from anything, which leaves really big projects being made by players, by modders. There is no imminent DLCs or a BG4 waiting in the wings. This leaves open a gap for mods like Path to Menzoberranzan to find a home among the Baldur's Gate 3 fanbase, as well as similar mods taking players to other parts of the world, all using the official mod tools from Larian with a backdoor to create custom levels. Modding, at least for now, is the future of the Baldur's Gate IP, of the Baldur's Gate 3 IP specifically. And the support of Swen Vincke, the CEO of Larian, the company that really created this game, is invaluable. His glowing comments, I think, really just need to be listened to by so many people in the gaming industry, because he talks about how mods can help extend the life of the game and can strengthen the game, because they really can. And all you have to do is look at a game like Skyrim, or basically any Bethesda game. The passion of modders can create incredible things. I mean, just think about Warcraft 3 and the fact that maybe, just maybe, there happened to be a fan mod for that game that spawned an entire genre of games. Yes, I'm talking about the MOBA genre, the League of Legends. It's all from Defense of the Ancients, which was just a mod, and Tower Defense. And I'm not alone in thinking of those examples, because just listen, just take a listen to what Sven has to say here.
just the release of the game. And like you said now, like you've given BG3 to the community. Do you think that's something that people really underestimate the power of, impacting the culture as opposed to just thinking about the bottom line?
Well, it comes down from the same thing, right? Happy player, happy business.
Yeah.
So it's literally, I mean, like, we cannot sustain at the level that the modding community is making mods for BG3 the content pipe. We cannot do it. We just well, we could if we were to use AI for it, but you don't want that. so if you want a game to live, that's the best way of doing it. It's the same like development. If I want our games to be great, I have to make sure that the developers own it. If I'm going to be the one owning it, it's never going to be great because I can't do everything. I need the developers to do it. The same thing goes with the players. If the players own the game, they'll make it fantastic. So we had many examples in the past. So it's a miracle actually that not more people have figured this out by now. So I mean, Skyrim comes to mind as a game where modding made it huge, right? So, but that's gone. I mean, like. I don't have to tell you what Warcraft 3 did in terms of mods, what that led to. Yeah. So many cool things happen when you give people ownership over them, and as a company, you can perfectly profit from it. I mean, like your core game is going to keep on selling, and whatever. If we're not in the DLC business, but if we would have been in the DLC business, I'm sure we would have benefited from it also. It's not as if that. Those opportunities go away. You just have a stronger, broader community that's more engaged. And so I cannot understand why you would not want that. And I think more and more people are starting to figure that out. And players are getting more vocal also about it. So it's a good thing. All right. So that's the days of, I was seeing this tweet the other day because we had the Oblivion remaster and somebody said, oh my God, I bought the horse armor.
Yeah, that is a hell of a turnaround as well.
The mention of the Oblivion remaster is a fantastic one here, because we're hot off of the heels of the Shadow Drop release of a remaster of Oblivion, all while the culmination of a 13-year modding project, Skyblivion, is also launching this year, a top-to-bottom mod using Skyrim to recreate Oblivion. That is essentially, for Bethesda, direct competition, and it's competition that comes in at a $0 price point. And Bethesda has been remarkably normal about it all. Basically, they haven't been absolute fuckwads to this 13-year project, even though they were launching essentially a competing project. And instead complimented the team and gave them all free game keys to the remaster. They've all but confirmed that they're not going to touch the game. They're not going to harm Skyblivion at all. In fact, are supportive of the project. Skyblivion and the remaster will both be available for players who just love Oblivion all this year. And that also bodes well for other massive mod projects, like one that's trying to rebuild Morrowind. But this is where I start to get a little bit nervous. Just a little bit nervous about Baldur's Gate 3. Because Bethesda has a long history of mods. They would be crazy not to recognize what mods can do for them at this point with how they have been able to maintain a player base around Skyrim for so long. And how they basically, I mean, hell, there's so much tied to it that there's memes about how mods are basically what come and fix Bethesda's games. Because they kind of do. Hell, they even have a paid mod store, which is mod DLC store, which is almost always the target of criticism, even though they've tried it multiple times at this point. But they basically know and understand mods. Hasbro and Wizard of the Coast is a bit of a different story. They kind of have the opposite reputation, at least in recent memory, with their whole OGL debacle, which threatened that use of IP, that entire ecosystem around their tabletop IP, which was in a way that can only really be described as greed. And hoping they learn lessons from that debacle in the face of this oopsie takedown of the Stardew Valley mod might be too much to ask. I think it's warranted to have a bit more concern that they might do something stupid with these mods compared to, say, like a Bethesda. they may not yet see the value. And that's where someone saying stuff like this, like Swen Vincke, who brought Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast so much value, I think is more important than anyone like us, like me, saying shit, even if there was like thousands of us. And that's why I'm a little bit more hopeful after this interview with Swen Vincke for seeing the eventual conclusion, the eventual culmination of all the passionate work going into a mod that I am super excited about called Path to Menza Bronzen. A mod that is going to be a 3-act mod taking us to the places that I really wish we could have gone deeper into in Baldur's Gate 3 with custom voice companions and just, you know what, if you want to know more about it, I covered it in this video right here. But man, just please Hasbro, don't be fuckwads. Let passionate modders make your IP more valuable by their hard work. My name is Edward Flynn. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.